And wouldn't you know it, we're back! Yes, after just 4 months, our favourite ponies are back for their 6th season. Let's get started right away with the 2-part premiere, The Crystalling. Having been reformed at the end of the last season, Starlight Glimmer is now living in Twilight's castle as her first student, ready to learn all about the magic of friendship. Her first lesson takes her to the Crystal Empire, where she is tasked with reuniting with her childhood friend Sunburst, something which she is painfully nervous about doing. Meanwhile, Twilight and friends are there to attend the royal crystalling of Princess Cadance and Shining Armor's new baby girl, Flurryheart. Upon meeting her though, they are all shocked to discover that she is a natural-born alicorn, and not only do her early magic and flying abilities make her a handful to control, they also inadvertently put the fate of the Crystal Empire at stake. While it's great to have My Little Pony back so soon, especially after we were forced to wait nearly a year between seasons last time, I'll admit that its sudden return still cast a bit of doubt. Although the show's staff did confirm that they were working on seasons 5 and 6 simultaneously, there's still always the possibility that handling such a big workload can result in compromised quality. For the most part though, that is thankfully not the case here, as the crystalling is a very fun and compelling way to get season 6 started. However, there are some problems. It's interesting to see how Twilight and Starlight begin the next chapters of their stories by becoming teacher and student respectively. Twilight's enthusiasm for having a pony to pass her knowledge down to, complete with thorough lesson plans and a very extensive checklist, keep her well in character, and Starlight's feelings of apprehension are very believable. While it's not explored here as much as I would have liked, it does set up what looks to be an endearing dynamic between the characters. On the first step on her road to a new life, Starlight is great to watch throughout the episode, developing a likeable personality and facing a very identifiable conflict with herself, as she tries to procrastinate her meeting with Sunburst at every possible opportunity. Josh Haber's script paints a realistic interpretation of what anxiety feels like before you start taking the path to facing your fear, especially in a brief scene early on where Starlight's anxieties are triggered so strongly that all other surrounding words and noises are drowned out by ringing. As for other characters, Spike's role in this episode is easily his best in ages. After Twilight finds herself having to help her brother with the baby, he accompanies Starlight on her trip to meet with Sunburst, and the scenes they share together are definitely some of the episode's strongest points. Before and during this series of events, he is brilliantly written as a supportive but encouraging agony uncle-like companion for Starlight. Having faced his own issues with self-worth on a number of occasions, it really feels like Spike has a genuine understanding of her insecurities, and I can easily imagine the two having a very close friendship where they feel comfortable with confiding in each other about their problems. When the episode eventually introduces him as an adult, Sunburst is also an engaging character. Ian Handling captures the perfect balance between wisdom and jittery awkwardness for his performance, which helps boost a heartfelt and relatable reunion between him and Starlight. Elsewhere, the sleep-deprived and extremely panicky Shining Armor is positively hilarious. Every time he jumps between preparing for the Crystal Egg ceremony and trying to watch his daughter is a moment that really had me chuckling. And although it may be exaggerated for comedic effect, it's also a wonderful representation of the stressful but joyous feeling that so many parents experience after their own baby is born, especially if the child is their first. Speaking of which, let's talk about Flurryheart. And I'm sure I'm in the minority here, but I actually liked her. She's not a particularly special addition to the show, and is used as little more than a plot device here, but she's still very cute, and although a massive inconvenience to the characters, her antics around the Crystal Empire were pretty fun to watch. And perhaps most importantly, she wasn't annoying, at least not to me. As I said though, she is little more than a plot device here, and I only hope the show will do much more than that with her in the future. The episode does win points, however, for addressing the confusion over Flurryheart being born an alicorn, but stalls a bit when Celestia and Luna fail to provide an answer, instead remarking,
"The birth of an alicorn is something Equestria has never seen.
It is beyond even our understanding."
This response initially sounds far-fetched and contradictory, as it's been widely believed that the royal sisters were also born alicorns. But the keyword here is Equestria, so the possibility that they were born before it existed, a concept that apparently is confirmed in the Journal of the Two Sisters book, makes their response somewhat plausible, as well as open another door for intriguing future developments. For only the second time, we have a season premiere devoid of an actual villain. Instead, the threat our characters are up against is the weather, as devastating clouds loom over the land after the Crystal Heart is destroyed, and threaten to bury it in a heavy snowstorm. It's terrific to finally see Celestia and Luna be put to great use, as they fight off the clouds as best they can while the others look for a spell to fix the heart. But this little subplot surprisingly isn't all that special. The transition into this conflict feels clunky and contrived, and never amounts to anything that suspenseful. With a torrential storm putting the land and all its inhabitants at risk by means of a natural disaster, this should be something really tense and gripping, but with its lack of urgency, it ultimately underwhelms. The following scene, though, which sees Starlight convince Sunburst to help in subsiding the incoming storm, features another great piece of character interaction, as they both regretfully confess in their own ways that their lives haven't turned out to be as important or fulfilling as they expected or would have liked. It's a poignant scene that helps drive the moral lessons about being honest with yourself and remembering that it's never too late to make something more of your life or repair a damaged bond between friends, both of which are evidenced in the episode's climax. Technically speaking, the animation has once again been stepped up a notch. The gleaming Crystal Empire looks more beautiful and picturesque than ever before, and in scenes where all the ponies are crystallized, the visual results are simply dazzling. It's also really nice to see Twilight and Shining Armor's parents briefly appear at the end in their first speaking role, and there's a fun little Easter egg in the form of a mysterious flying creature. Is this possibly a changeling? An implication that they might be returning or plotting an invasion? Maybe this is foreshadowing the upcoming Guardians of Harmony toy line being incorporated into the show. We'll just have to wait and see, of course. All things considered, the Crystalling may not be MLP at its finest, but it's still an enjoyable way to set Season 6 in motion, introducing us to some likeable new characters and opening up a plentiful amount of potential for all its plot points as the season moves forward. But while it serves that purpose well enough, it should still be able to stand on its own feet as an independent story, which is unfortunately where it falls a bit short. Like the Season 5 finale, there is a bit too much going on at once, but Josh Haber has much better control of it all here, particularly with how everything comes together in the conclusion. There may still be some aspects that he needs to work on, but for me he is showing signs of improvement, albeit steadily. This episode may have its flaws, but for all its strengths, I'm still going to be positive and give it a gold star score of 8 out of 10.